Russia's achieved all their objectives in Ukraine. Do you have any thoughts on that?
You know, how do these people all end up literally doing kooky talk?
Yeah.
I mean, this is crazy with a capital K. I mean, this guy ran the Defense Intelligence Agency, and what I want to know is, was any of this stuff ever seen in his psych workup? Because this is really nuts. This means he believes in Russian-originated conspiracy. Oh, I forgot. He sat at the right hand of Putin and took $45,000 from him. Of course he would say something crazy like that. He is just a treasonous dolt.
Yeah.
Right? Somebody
Dolt.
Get grandpa some cookies or something.
Yeah, I mean,
because Mike Flynn has lost the thread here.
Malcolm, a lot of people have asked why he hasn't been called back up and court-martialed. Can you speak to that?
Well, because he really hasn't been convicted of anything. He's still in his free speech, First Amendment zone. But if he were to get convicted of something, then they would easily have the grounds to pull his pension.
Yeah.
Things like that. And they oftentimes cut deals where they'll leave the pension will go to the wife and and commissary privileges, and he will lose his benefits.
Yeah. Here he is, continuing with his Russian talking points. General Flynn.
Mm-hmm. I mean, one of the things that we have got to come to grips with is that this situation in Ukraine is not going to end well. It is not in our favor right now. And the other thing is, I know a lot of guys, and I've told them to get the hell out of there, who are acting as mercenaries because they make a lot of money, of this $110 billion, to my estimate, that we've already spent in Ukraine. I mean, this is a complete waste of our time, of our money, and we should get out of there. And there's an easy way to get to peace quickly. And frankly, if anybody thinks that Russia's on the ropes in this case, they're sadly mistaken.
Okay. You just tweeted Russia is going to lose. These people are indefatigable. I can't pronounce the word.
Yes.
They're not going to give up.
Right.
Anyway, but I mean, as you keep saying, and other people, someone had the balls to tweet to you. You can find out exactly what the truth is if you have the balls to go get on the battlefield. And you said you surely aren't talking to me, are you? Ukraine is winning, and it ain't even close. You know of what you speak because you were just there helping.
Only 9 months in the Ukrainian army. What war are they talking about? Are they talking about the war that they're fighting in Walmart? I mean, not only is the man lives in an alternate reality, okay? Yeah. I'm going to use a professional term of art in the intelligence community. He's crazy, all right? He's ducking something. So where does he think he is? He has access to people who are in that world. He refuses to believe it. Russia is close to breaking. And I'm writing up a new article for my 2023 Substack about my predictions for this year. I'm going to pull the full Nance on what's going to go on in war and over in Ukraine. But I'm telling you, okay, when I left 7 weeks ago, we're at 106,000 dead Russians. Yeah. And do you know how we know that? They leave the bodies on the battlefield. They never evacuate them. The Ukrainians have most of the bodies. We can see that, they're dead. Well, so Mike Flynn shilling for Vladimir Putin, I mean, I don't know, maybe he's been promised a date with Edward Snowden next time he goes to Moscow. Yeah. I don't know.
Well, I mean, the headline this morning, Malcolm, from NBC is Russia says significant number of its soldiers killed in attack. Dozens of Russian troops were killed in a Ukrainian strike that used U.S.-supplied artillery to hit a base in an occupied part of the country on New Year's Eve. The rare admission of the setback reflected the severity of the incident and of the domestic reaction to it, with influential pro-military figures voicing criticism of the Kremlin and suggesting the death toll may have been much higher. Kyiv also appears to suggest the number of soldiers killed was higher than Moscow's official numbers. So yeah.
Russia is saying that they've lost 62 soldiers in this attack on a resort building, right? Surrounded by fuel trucks and ammunition. This giant building in Mariivka. And they're saying 62. Well, when Russia does that, multiply it by 10. The Ukrainians are saying 400. And they know they had persistent drones in that area. They watched the trucks of the mobilized come in and stand out in formations and counted them. And they were all living in this building. And, we are just awesome. Our weapon systems, especially the HIMARS multiple rocket launch system, it can knock down specific pillars to make the whole building collapse on you. It's that good. Russia has been having incidents like this. We killed 250 PMC Wagner mercenaries. Don't believe the Ukrainians. Believe the videotape from the inside of those buildings, right, where there were no survivors.
Yeah.
But if Russia cops to 62, multiply it by 10 for the truth.
Yeah. One last one, General Flynn, about Zelensky's speech.
We have that.
Mm-hmm. The guy that just showed up to speak to our Congress in a sweatsuit outfit should have been thrown out on his rear end and not given another penny.
I mean, it is amazing what has happened to this entire Republican Party, right? Them talking about what Zelensky was wearing rather than him, us defending democracy around the world.
I could just hear this guy, right? Michael Flynn, 1941. That Churchill guy came in smelling of whiskey and stogie cigars. We should have thrown him out on his bum, right? Hitler has really nice uniforms. Yeah. Good God, this is what happens when the corruption of Donald Trump seeps into your brain. And he had access to all of U.S. intelligence for his whole career. And this is what he comes up with. Everything Trump touches dies.
Yeah.
And this man's brain is rotted from it. I feel embarrassment that I actually complimented him in a documentary that was done by MSNBC for his skill in Iraq. But now I see it was just him. That was his moments of lucidity before he had lost his dang mind.
Yeah. So it seems like over the holidays, a lot of the stuff bombshells, I guess, feels like stuff we already knew, right? Trump's taxes, the J6 committee stuff. But I don't know if lost in it, but the John Bolton basically confirming what we kind of already suspected is that Trump would have just given Ukraine to Putin, is basically what he said. If he had won a second term, he would have just given it to him.
Yeah, and technically he tried when he tried to extort Zelensky for those $400 million in defense funds. And you know what that was? Those were the Javelin missiles that stopped the Russian invasion.
Yeah.
Trump was trying to extort him, blackmail him to coming up with some fake investigation. Otherwise, nice country you got there. It would be a shame if something happened to it. Mm-hmm. He would have used the entirety of U.S.'s authority and NATO to assist Russia to Ukraine. He would have stepped away and he would have said, this isn't our problem. The man is, look, Donald Trump by every measure and quite possibly the constitutional measure is a traitor to America.
Yeah.
All right? I wouldn't be surprised if he goes and moves into Putin's dacha in Sochi, which the size of Versailles.
Yeah. Nostradamus, what are your predictions for 2023? Is it going to be the year of justice, of accountability for Trump? What do you think is going to happen in Ukraine and when? Give us your Nostradamus.
Well, let me give you Ukraine first. Ukraine, this is the year that the Russian army will shatter. Now, I predicted last June that by September their offensive combat power would be finished. And they wouldn't be able to do anything except delay actions. And that's precisely what happened. I know. I took part in the counteroffensive that proved that. I bet my life on that. But now I think we're going to a new phase. They are going to start losing territory that Russia views as Russia. Luhansk province, quite possibly major parts of Donetsk, they're going to lose all of Kherson province. That's just a foregone conclusion. It's just a question of when. And whether their army starts giving up en masse is another great question. But I think that the Russian army is finished this year. You can throw bodies at it. That does nothing but give us more bodies to count.
Yeah. What about accountability? Obviously, your book "They Want to Kill Americans" is essentially about January 6th.
Yeah.
Did you have some reactions to the J6 committee report? Anything that surprised you? And
Well, just the depth of the conspiracy. Ari Melber did a really good segment the other day when he said all of the low-level participants are really getting hammered and being held accountable. But apparently there's this thing at Justice Department where they will not go after other lawyers. And he said the Eastmans and the Cipollones, all of these people are being held to a higher justice standard than the average person who came into the building. And the conspiracy was far deeper than anything that we had thought. We all knew Trump was involved in it. We all knew Trump was working at it. When I started that book, They Want to Kill Americans, I started that book in August of 2020. Yeah. It was sold in December of 2020, and it was pretty easy to predict everything that would happen. But the depth of the conspiracy between Trump, his senior staff, the governors, trying to put in fake electors to overthrow the government. I foresaw an insurrection, but I didn't foresee that the entire Republican Party was a grand old conspiracy party ready to overthrow American democracy and establish a dictatorship.
Yeah. Speaking of 2023, will the Republicans have a speaker by the end of 2023? Will we still be voting?
At this rate, it might be Marjorie Taylor Greene.
Right.
I think the Democrats really need to go to hardball here. They really need to put up Lynn Cheney. If you're going to have somebody in there, all it requires is 5 Republicans for her to be the Speaker of the House and all the Democrats. And let's say we lose Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez. But a Republican is going to fill that seat anyway.
Right.
You want one that is not going to destroy America in the process.
Yeah.
So I personally think that I think that McCarthy is more than willing to go the 2 months that the last time it went this far went, right, where there was no speaker. But, the crazies are not going to relent here unless they are given full run of the House. And now, today, I wouldn't be surprised today if they announce that they must be made chairs of the big committees. And I wouldn't be surprised if McCarthy gives it to him because he's crazy.
Oh, boy. Oh, boy. All right. And Nance, rarely wrong.
Right.
They Want to Kill Americans is the book. We love you, Malcolm Nance. See you next week.